Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. It is March Madness. The NCAA Tournament has started. Mount St. Mary's is taking on Texas Southern right now in one of the first four games. I'm so excited. This is my favorite time of year, and with the NCAA Tournament being canceled last year, I'm just so grateful that the big dance is back. So welcome into today's Embedded with the Badgers, our virtual event presented by the Wisconsin Basketball Booster Club. And thanks for joining us. Even though the team is in quasi-quarantine here, their time is still very precious. They're preparing for a really big game tomorrow night, as we know. So we're going to kind of whip through this quickly and but try and give you a sneak peek here. We've got head coach Greg Gard, assistant coach Joe Krabbenhoft, who's got the scout for tomorrow night's game against North Carolina, and seniors Brad Davison and Dimitri Trice are going to join us also. Give us a sneak peek into our controlled environment here in Indianapolis and a little preview of tomorrow's NCAA first round game at Mackey Arena. So before we bring in Coach Gard, allow me to set the scene briefly. The NCAA bought out 4 entire hotels here in downtown Indianapolis to house all 68 teams for the week. Each team gets an entire floor of one of the hotels, with all 34 members of their Tier 1 travel party having his or her own room. So the Badgers have an entire floor here in this hotel, and no one that isn't in our travel party is allowed to even come on our floor. So we've got access to a team room a few floors below where we have meals, and there's a gathering point before we move as a team to different areas. And then we've also got one team room over in the convention center that's attached via Skyway, and that's where the team does scouting report and film study. So the team is pretty much spending its time bouncing from hotel room to ballroom over to the convention center for practice or to Mackey Arena for practice, as the team did yesterday, and then back to the hotel room. So, but all in all, it seems like everybody's stayed busy, and so far spirits are high. Team's very excited to get going. But don't take it from me. Let's take it from the source. Let's bring in the head coach of the Wisconsin Badgers. Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Gard.
Hey, Patrick.
Hey, Coach.
Hello, everybody out there watching back in Wisconsin or wherever you may be. Glad you could join us.
So, Coach, let's start off the top. Is this your favorite time of year too? I mean, I said at the jump, this is Christmas for me. I love the NCAA tournament. Yeah,
no, there's no doubt. And to be able to be in this thing 21 of the last 22 years, the consistency that our program has shown, and obviously a huge credit to our guys to especially this year to get through, navigate all the obstacles we've had from almost a year ago to the day when all of this was put on the table for 2020. To be here now is kind of surreal, thinking back over all that has transpired in the last year.
So you mentioned the 21 tournaments, the last 22. You've been a part of 19 of those as either assistant or head coach. And so you would pretty much go into each tournament knowing, okay, I know the drill. We're going to leave this. We're going to have a practice. Here's what it's like. We got to do media, this and that. Well, this year, I mean, there's no script. Nobody knows. Can you give a glimpse into that where everybody's kind of going through it going, hey, Mark, the operations director, what's next?
Right. Yeah, there's no doubt. It's definitely been completely different. Obviously, you're living day to day on Teamworks and what we're doing with our app on our phone to follow along, and things are scheduled and changed, obviously, each day. So we get constant updates of when our practice is, when our meeting times are, when our meals are, when our testing time for COVID testing, which we have yet later tonight. So, all those things that are going on, it's a constant. It's completely different than how it's ever been. Obviously, with having all 68 teams here at one spot. The NCAA has done a phenomenal job to this point. I'm sure there's been hiccups here and there, but to coordinate something like this, the enormity of this has been an unbelievable undertaking.
Yeah, I agree. It's an elaborate puzzle that they're piecing together, and so far, knock on wood, it's been pretty smooth for the Badgers. Let's take us back to Selection Sunday when the team was watching the bracket reveal. What were your initial reactions to playing Friday, playing North Carolina, playing Mackey Arena? What went through your head when you first saw that come out?
Well, first of all, I think playing Friday, Saturday, I mean, I think probably the sooner the better. It's good because otherwise we're sitting here as we've gone through quarantine Sunday night and Monday and obviously kind of been sequestered, so to speak, here anyway on our floor and just to the normal activities that we have to do or the required activities. But, whether we got a 6, a 7, an 8, a 9, a 10, we were going to, as I told the team Friday night after the Iowa game, we're going to play a good team no matter what. It's not going to matter. Don't get caught up in the number behind it or in front of our name. All the average and bad teams have gone home by now. They're all on spring break. So there's only 68 left. So we're going to have a good team no matter what. The number really dictates what color jersey you wear, so to speak. So, and obviously North Carolina, I watched them a little bit during the year, catch them here and there. Didn't follow them real closely to follow their journey through the season, but having now watched quite a few of their games, they're very talented. Obviously, and you'd expect so, and big. So it'll be a great challenge for us tomorrow night. Mackey Arena's good. It's got a court on top of Mackey Arena because Mackey Arena's court is actually permanent. So the NCAA had to bring in another court and put it on top of it. And I think the setup looks pretty good. I mean, as you mentioned, we got to practice in there last night for about 90 minutes. So it was good. I think having been there, I think it gives some familiarity to our guys. But, the opponent, the venue isn't near as important as what the opponent does. It's always the guys in the other jerseys that create those venues and whether a court's tough to play on or not. So we're looking forward to tomorrow night.
We'll get the full scouting report from Krabbenhoft next. He'll fill us in on what we need to know about North Carolina. But how well do you know Roy Williams? You've faced him a couple times as a coach, including once as a head coach in the Maui Invitational.
Right.
Do you have a history with him?
No, other than seeing him on the road, or when we've played him various times, whether it's been NCAA tournament, we played once down at North Carolina in the Challenge a few years ago, and obviously in Maui in the championship game in 2016. But, Roy has always been very gracious to me. I always judged the coaches I always did as an assistant. Kind of my opinion got formed with them and how they would treat people on the road. And that's obviously the only time we see them is in the recruiting venue, which has obviously been shut down for the last year. But, Coach Williams has always been very generous, very great to me, really. I mean, we've sat and talked in games and, I have a lot of respect for him. Obviously, he's had tremendous success. He's won 400 plus games at Kansas, 400 plus games at North Carolina. So I think he knows what he's doing. He's seen a thing or two over the 3 decades he's been coaching.
I always remember too that he was the one who left that extra ticket to the championship game for Coach Ryan in honor of Butch.
Right.
Back in 2015, he left an empty seat that he wanted for Coach Ryan's dad to be there in spirit, which was, I always remember that as a neat thing. All right, last question for you, and we'll get you out of here. How has the team been able to stay loose, stay together, kind of enjoy their time, even though we're in this strange and this social distancing era here in the tournament? Right. What have they been able to do? Because they have been able to have some fun.
They have, and that's one thing I wanted them to do, to make sure they enjoy this, embrace it. It's hard to get here, so don't take it for granted. And let's enjoy this week, even though it's been much different, obviously, because we have a whole week. But you mentioned the team room we have. The ping pong table, foosball table in there. Spike ball has become very popular and very intense, by the way. And then we also got to obviously go over to Victory Field, the Indianapolis Indians minor league field here yesterday. They have an open park, so to speak, from 7 to 10, and they had some yard games that teams can go over and rotate and sign up for times, and badminton, soccer, some football. Some of that's got out a little bit on social media and some of the activities. So guys have been doing that, and obviously I think they brought their gaming equipment too. So I'm sure if you walked into those rooms, there's some pretty intense video gaming going on when we're not doing something together as a team.
Yeah, rumor has it we've got a couple quarterbacks on our team. That seems to be a narrative that people talk about. I don't know. So there's
a few rocket arms that were taking place yesterday. The football was flying pretty fast.
Coach, thanks for your time. Best of luck tomorrow. Let's do this again in 2 days from now. Do another game, huh?
That sounds like a plan. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Take care.
Up next, we'll have Joe Krabbenhoft join us. I think he's standing in line, ready. But just to reemphasize what Coach Gard said, we're fortunate as Badger fans to follow this team going to 21 of the last 22 NCAA tournaments. Only 5 schools can say that, and and it's pretty heady company, those that can also say that: Duke, Kansas, North Carolina, and Gonzaga. And not only that, but Wisconsin has won when they've gotten to the NCAA tournament. That's a stat too that we shouldn't take for granted. That Wisconsin has 6 Sweet 16 appearances in the last 10 years. Only Kentucky has done more than that. They've been 7 times in the last 10 years, and Kentucky they're not in my bracket this year. So they won't be adding to that title. Hopefully Wisconsin can tie them with their 7th Sweet 16, but we're fortunate for that. And we'll be sure to ask Coach Krabbenhoft, because he's got a history of playing in the NCAA tournament, obviously, and now coaching in it. So he's got a great perspective. And here he is, the man of the hour, Coach Gard was just talking about some intense spike ball games. Have you found your way into any spike ball?
Come on, Patrick. You know the answer to that. We've played a little.
No.
It has been fun. Our guys are pretty talented on the spike ball and the football and all the yard games. I think we're a number 1 seed in yard games. That's for sure.
Yes, yesterday at Victory Field. So again, to explain what Coach Gard was talking about, they have, it's a controlled environment over at this minor league baseball stadium that's attached to where we are, and you can get there basically via indoor skyway. And so they had all sorts of, they had a badminton net set up, and we brought spike ball over there, and they had footballs and soccer balls laying around that they sanitize after each team is done. But we were dominating in those things. What else did you do besides spike ball?
Well, we were throwing the football around a little bit, a little punt, pass, kick competition, some 101s. It was fun to see it. A few of our guys were pretty good on the gridiron. Trice and Davison at the quarterback, Johnny Davis, kind of a multi-sport athlete as well, and then Jordan, of course, and Carter Gilmore. So it was fun to watch some of those 1v1s. Even Micah Potter thinks he's a pretty good punter. So he actually booted it pretty far in the sky. So it was fun to see him have a little fun and get outside, get some fresh air, and enjoy himself.
For my money, if we're backed up into our own end zone, though, Carter Gilmore's punting it for me. He'd be my punter of choice. He was taking it pretty well. Okay, you've got the scouting report on North Carolina. So people who are on this are big Badger fans, so I'm sure they've read a lot about this matchup already, and they're ready for it. And the narrative that you start with, the first thing is, okay, North Carolina offensive rebounds. Tell us give us a cliff notes of how you approach this when you look at North Carolina and have to talk to the team about what to prepare for.
Well, there's a lot of things that go into this, but to keep it as simple as possible, you really try to hone in on what they do well as a team offensively, and that starts and really ends in transition. They play extremely fast. They're one of the fastest teams in the country every single year. This year is no different. And when you're scattered in transition, it makes very difficult. That's rebounding. So if you can really do your job in slowing them down and getting them in the half court defensively, you'll have a much better chance at collecting that rebound. Making them miss is the first part of getting to a rebound. And so studying the individual tendencies, what they want to do collectively, what kind of sets and offense they're running. You really try to break it down as much as possible without overdoing it, and allowing our guys just to play off their instincts, off their fundamentals and principles that we've instilled in them from day one. So our guys have been in tournaments, have been in these types of settings before, and luckily as a coach, we can throw quite a bit at them. But at the same time, we got to watch how much we give them and make it about Wisconsin as much as possible, even though North Carolina deserves a lot of attention, a lot of credit for who they are as a program and what they've done this year as a team. But if we can be just the best version of Wisconsin, I like our chances.
All right, I like hearing that. Okay, so from a tempo-wise, do they compare to Iowa? Would you say that's one of the more up-tempo teams that Wisconsin's played?
Absolutely. That's what I have on the scout, is just to kind of give them some familiarity. I was trying to draw comparisons to get them thinking about the right things. And I said, just as far as tempo goes, how it felt when Iowa would push it at you, that's very comparable.
So this is one thing I forgot to ask Coach Gard, but I'll ask you a little bit. He was asked in his pre-tournament press conference about possibly having to use multiple bigs at the same time. We've seen Wisconsin do it last year, some earlier this season with maybe Reavers and Potter together. And he said, yeah, that's something we're going to be prepared for, and we might have to use that. Do you see that as a potential necessity or strategy against a team that's this big?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think you got to have all hands on deck and be ready to go with whatever lineup we're going to need to get the job done. And when you see North Carolina get out there and run and go to the glass, we're going to be thinking about how much size we're going to need to go get the rebound. But there's no doubt guys like Aleem Ford and Tyler Wall, though they may be undersized at the 4 or 5 position, they've shown that they have the ability to rebound and defend and get in the fight. And so it's going to be all hands on deck, no doubt about it.
Did you fill out brackets as a kid?
I'm still a kid.
Did you fill out a bracket this year? I did. I'm not gonna just for my fun. I just like to have one and predict. Did you fill one out?
Yeah, I zoomed with my 4 kids back home, and we all picked winners to advance all the way to the championship. And shocker, I'll let you know in on a little secret. All the Krabbenhofts picked the Wisconsin Badgers all the way. Different. We're playing a different team. All the Final Fours were different. The girls, they liked the nicknames. They went with the fun nickname of the team. So I had to look up a couple to tell them, who was playing who. And the boys, they studied it a little bit more. They went with the guys who have the coolest haircuts.
Well, Illinois did well on their bracket.
Illinois did well, and we are playing Ohio U in the national championship and Joseph Krabbenhoft, because Jason Preston, a really good point guard for Ohio, has really cool hair. That was the reason why Ohio U made it to the national championship.
Wow, your kids go deep on the scouting report. Last question for you: how's the food been for you guys in the Indy bubble?
Can't complain. We get treated pretty well here, and our support staff does an unbelievable job. Mark Van Wettering takes great care of us, and we've been eating like kings around here. And free food is food. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes it's really good. Like last night, those Capitol Grill lamb chops were on point. So I'm from South Dakota. I can eat just about anything. Let's be honest.
Joe, thanks for your time. Good luck putting the finishing touches on that scouting report and getting the guys prepared for tomorrow night's game.
All right. Thanks, Badger fans. Glad you could join us virtually. Cheer hard from the couch. We'll be feeling it and hearing it.
Thanks, Joe. For the record, the team had Capitol Grill catered into the hotel, if anybody's curious. We're not really permitted to leave the hotel necessarily. Once you leave the hotel, if you went out to a restaurant as a team, you are not welcome back in. That's kind of part of the controlled environment and making sure that everybody stays safe. So everything's very choreographed. When the team moves to practice in the convention center, there are escorts that are on walkie-talkies making sure that other teams are not coming at the same time. So if we're in a skywalk, we're not crossing paths with another team like Missouri or Purdue. But we do see a lot of other teams around this controlled environment. There are 13 other teams staying in our hotel. So we're at a hotel where you can kind of see down to some of the other floors. The atrium is open. And so often you'll look down and you'll be able to see, there's Purdue, and there's Eastern Washington, and there's Georgia Tech. And it's kind of fun when you're walking through the hallways. You from a distance, you see a lot of the other coaches too. The first day we were here, I know Coach Gard and Patrick Ewing exchanged congratulations, and I saw Matt Painter in the lobby this morning, and Tom Izzo yesterday over at Victory Field. So that's a little different than the normal NCAA tournament. You're usually at a site with only 7 other teams, and you don't cross paths a lot because your hotel is usually just reserved for one team. Where here, it's like an AAU tournament. Everybody's in the same venue all the time. So that's kind of an interesting thing. But to echo what Joe said, the food's been really good. Capitol Grill catered in last night. St. Elmo's, for those of you who are familiar with Indianapolis, St. Elmo's catered in the night before, and everybody got to try the famous shrimp cocktail. And so the guys have been treated pretty well here. It's been pretty good. We're expecting to have Brad Davison and Dimitri Trice joining us here momentarily from their rooms in the controlled environment. We'll stand by and wait for their arrival. There they are. There's the 2 of them. Gentlemen, welcome into the broadcast.
What's up? What's up? Thank you for having us. Yeah, for sure.
So you are on live with what we can only imagine is thousands of Badger fans. Maybe not quite, but we can imagine it's thousands. So, Brad, start with you. How's morale? How's the team been these last few days hanging out, getting ready for tomorrow?
Spirits are high. It's been a long time coming. We're looking forward to the opportunity on Friday, but we've really just been trying to maximize our time, make the most of where we're at, whether it's playing spike ball, playing Wii, Obviously working hard in practice and preparing for Friday, but also having some fun along the way.
Mitch, what are you doing? What are you doing with your free time?
As you can see in the video that the Badger page posted, I've been playing a little bit of video games, some Call of Duty, some Fortnite, things like that, just to pass the time a little bit here and there.
Okay, so both you guys, let's grade your teammates here. Who are the spike ball All-Americans?
Spike ball All-Americans. On our team, I would have to say Trevor, Brad, me, Aleem, and Cole is up there. And Cole's really good. So
Cole Gentry is the graduate assistant on the team for people who aren't familiar. Brad, how was it going over to Victory Field yesterday and kind of getting to be like a kid for a few hours?
It was awesome. It was awesome to get outside, run around a little bit. We were playing some badminton, football, spike ball, soccer, every sport, you name it. We were out there just kind of enjoying our time outside. No, it was awesome. Really enjoyed it.
Guys, both of you guys, everybody grows up dreaming of playing in the NCAA tournament, and a lot has been made about how last year was taken away from everybody and this year it's back. Will you watch games tonight? Like, are you a junkie that you're going to watch Michigan State play tonight against UCLA? Both of you.
Oh, well, I already have the game pulled up on my iPad. I'm watching Texas Southern play right now. So, yeah, I can wait. I can wait for the first games to be started. So I'm definitely going to be watching basketball all night.
Me as well. I was watching before I came out here for the interview, and I'll go back and watch the games tonight. And then on the TV, I'll watch the games. Then on my iPad, I'll watch some more UNC film to prep and get ready for tomorrow night. So it'll be a two-way basketball viewing for me.
Some people may know, some people may not, that you were here in 2015 when the Badgers were, but you were wearing green because your brother was in the same Final Four in 2015. What do you remember from that experience?
A lot of fans. That was one of the craziest atmospheres I think I've ever been a part of. And just to be there is just amazing. So hopefully we can make that run back like the Badgers did then. And obviously I was cheering for Michigan State at the time, but playing back in Indy. So hopefully we can make that run to happen again.
Unfortunately, Michigan State lost in the first game. Did you stick around for the end of the Wisconsin-Kentucky game?
I did, actually. We had to move from our seats, but I was walking around, like heading towards the exit, but I was able to watch pretty much the game from standing up, really. So,
did you jump around at the end when Jump Around came on after the game? Because you know that everybody watching this did.
Yeah, I know everybody on here did, but honestly didn't even know it was a thing. My brother knew it was a thing, but I didn't know it was a thing at the time. So, looking back on it, I did not jump around.
Brad, were you a brackets kid when you were little? Did you fill out brackets and follow along?
Absolutely. I watched every single game. My family, actually, growing up, we were in charge of kind of like the city-wide bracket. So we had my dad and I, my mom, we'd make an Excel file, and, it'd be family and friends, my sister's friends, my friends, my parents' college and high school friends. We'd have 300, 350 people in this bracket pool. We were in charge of, I remember long car rides, the basketball tournaments, we would manually put in everyone's picks and everyone's brackets just to get ready for the pool. So we were a huge March Madness family. Still are.
All right. Well, let's spend the last couple of minutes here before we get you out talking about tomorrow's game. So, Meech, let's start with you. A lot has been made about the bigs that North Carolina has and rebounding and such.
Yeah.
But their guards shouldn't be a little overlooked either, right? You guys both are going to have an important job tomorrow night.
Definitely, with obviously with a talented team like UNC, their guards are always going to be really good, and McDonald's All-Americans and highly scouted and highly recruited guards. So everybody in the tournament is going to be really good, but their guards specifically are always going to be talented and tall, strong, quick. Just overall game is going to be really good. So even though the game is going to be focused on in the paint and the bigs with their two bigs and our bigs and rebounding, you can't really overlook the guards on both sides of it. So, yeah, me and Brad have to get our nose in there and get some rebounds there every once in a while. So we definitely got to shut down their guards because they can get it going too.
Yeah, just let those big guys box out, and then you guys just sweep in and steal those rebounds, right?
Exactly. But don't tell the bigs that we said that.
Yeah,
No, nobody has to know. It doesn't matter who gets it as long as Wisconsin gets it.
Definitely.
absolutely.
Brad, we just had Coach Krabbenhoft on here, and he told us that, the scouting report is as much about Wisconsin as anything. Do the same things that, don't turn the ball over, get back at transition D. Is that how you guys are approaching it, that this game is about us as much as it is about North Carolina, or even more?
Absolutely. This time of year, all the ups and downs that we've been through this year makes you who you are, and it makes you the team we can become. We played the best teams every week. We've been tested. We played very competitive games, so we know what it takes to win games. We know what we need to do to make sure that the outcome is what we want. So it's great to know UNC personnel and tendencies at the end of the day. If we execute and if we focus on the little things and do what we need to do, we like our chances.
So Coach Crab said that he had some lamb chops yesterday from Capitol Grill. What did you guys order?
I personally had a 10-ounce sirloin. It was really good. And I took a lot of the appetizers. I had some shrimp. I had calamari. And then I tried lobster for the first time, and that was actually pretty good. So I'm a big guy on trying new things and stuff like that, so I had to try it. It was really good though.
College is all about exploration. Brad, what'd you have?
Definitely.
Absolutely. Very similar to Meach. I tried all the different appetizers, so I had some of that. But then I went with the lamb chops as well. Coach Krabbenhoft and Coach Schneider were telling me that I had to switch up my meats and try something new. So I actually had lamb chops for the first time, and they were delicious. They were delicious. They're fun to eat too. Yeah, eating them right off the bone. I kind of felt like a caveman, but it was awesome. Tasted super good. They had this little, I don't know what it was, but this dipping sauce that we could put it in. So I had that with some mashed potatoes and mac and cheese, and it was very, very content. They treated us very well with the food we're eating here.
It's almost dinner time. We're going to start making people hungry.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, last question for you. How long did you guys pack for?
I got a few more weeks left to close, so I'm good to go.
I got a whole month left, so and we got a laundry, so we can do laundry over and over. So we packed for a long time. Don't worry.
We got nowhere. We're not planning on going anywhere.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, thanks for joining us. I know you guys got other stuff you got to get to, including hopefully the Michigan State UCLA game in a little while. But thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for the support. Go Badgers.
Go Badgers.
Good luck tomorrow night, boys.
Thank you.
Thanks to everybody for joining us on this unique Embedded with the Badgers virtual event. I would love for the Badgers to win a couple games, and we could do this again next week. So set your calendars. We'll pencil it in. We'll try and get it done for one of the days next week after the Badgers knock off two opponents here in Indianapolis. But thanks to the Badger Booster Club for setting this up for us. Thanks to Laura Strang, who's so instrumental, and AJ Van Handel for doing all he does. If you're not a member of the Booster Club and you want to join, it's a fantastic organization. It doesn't cost a lot to get in, but membership has its perks. There's all sorts of opportunities to get involved and events that you get to attend. You can email Laura at the email address at the bottom here, ljs@athletics.wisc.edu. That's it from the controlled environment from Indianapolis. I'm Patrick Herb saying thank you so much for joining. Badgers versus North Carolina tomorrow, 6:10 p.m. Central Time on CBS. Thanks. Have a good night. Go Badgers.